Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Z Talks with your host, Zaria Musgrove, where I talk about books, movies, and TV shows that relate to history and classic literature. Now, today is obviously a special episode because I have a guest on, my brother, KYRIE.
Hi guys, my name is KYRIE Musgrove. I'm 10. I'm very excited to be on Zaria's podcast again, and thank you for letting me on and talking about another book.
Yeah, he's saying again because he was on the podcast before, guys. If you go a couple episodes back, you could hear KYRIE on the shark episode where I actually featured a special intro. So if you want to hear that and want to hear more of KYRIE, definitely hop on that episode. But this is a momentous occasion because this is our first visual episode with a guest. So we're breaking a lot of barriers here today. First recurring guest on the podcast and first episode where we see the guest. Now, today we will be looking at another book, as I said, and the book we will be looking at today is Horrible Histories, Awesome Egyptians. Now, KYRIE recommended me this book, and I thought that I had to do it on the podcast because I actually really liked it. And KYRIE reads a lot. He reads a lot. We share that hobby in common, and this was his recommendation. So he will be here to walk you through some of the fun facts in this book. And I don't want to spoil it. So without further ado,
let's get into it.
Now, this book, if you haven't guessed it, is about the Egyptians and more specifically about the mummies because there's a mummy on the cover. So it talks about mummies, the pyramids, everything Egyptian culture, the Egyptian people, the pharaohs, everything ancient. It's more about the ancient part of Egyptian history per se and looking at the myths and everything surrounding that. But instead of getting me to talk about it, I'm going to ask KYRIE. And more specifically, I will ask him, what was your favorite part about this book? Because he really liked it. So I think he wants to talk more about the parts that he liked. So tell me, what'd you like?
What I liked about the book was probably the pictures, how they put on every single page, how they put every single little detail to sort of give a reference on what they were doing and how they would do it. And I really liked that they did that. So because a lot of books nowadays they don't have pictures.
Fair.
And I like in my books that I read, I like to have like a little sense what's going on. So and pictures really, I mean, bring that like spark, and this book has a lot of it. So that's what I really like about it.
Honestly, I like that as well. Like, I really enjoyed this book because I got to tap into my childhood energy and really get into the pictures. This book is full with depictions of what actually happens. Like, I'll show you some of them. Full on cartoons in this book, guys. So if you want to tap into your inner child, you definitely should read this book. And not only does it have cartoons and pictures, it is funny. I found the book funny. Did you?
Honestly, I found a little bits of like hidden details, some hidden details in the book that are actually really funny, maybe laugh and giggle.
Me too, but like I found even more than the funny parts in this book. There were a lot of parts of this book that shocked me. A lot of things that I really didn't think about or know about Egyptian culture that I actually had to do my Googles and some research about before I took it at face value. But instead of me talking about it, KYRIE, what part of this book really shocked you? Let me know.
What really shocked me? So what really shocked me about the book was I think in a university in London in the early I think 1900s I think
19th century.
19th century.
Uh-huh.
They would get the mummies from the pyramids, and they would bring it in movie theaters, hospitals, like in big crowds, hundreds of people, and they would place it on like a operating table, and they would carve open into the mummy like I think there was like over 50 wrap like layers of linen around the mummy. So that was really interesting because I didn't know that's what they did with the mummies after they found them. So that's really interesting.
Honestly, he's not lying. That part of the book really shocks me as well. And I actually did a little bit of research because I found that hard to believe. Like, people actually went to see this as a full on show and spectacle to see these mummies unwrapped. And that was so out of the box for me that I actually did a little research. And I have a quote for you, the audience. I have a quote for you from an article that I read so that you can really know that this is real. So, this is from the British Journal for the History of Science, and it was published by a UCL archaeology professor called Gabriel Mushenka. And the quote reads: "The unrolling of Egyptian mummies was a popular spectacle in mid century Britain. In hospitals, theaters, homes, and learned institutions, mummies' bodies brought from Egypt as souvenirs or curiosities were opened and examined in front of rapt audiences. The best known mummies unroller of this period was the surgeon and antiquary Thomas Pettigrew, author of the highly respected History of Egyptian Mummies." End quote. And I just want to say that quote is a shortened version because I did a little ellipses
Yeah,
moment in the middle of the quote because it was long before.
very
But
long.
you can get the gist. People literally will pay money to see these monies being unwrapped in real time after or before a lecture that the unwrapper would give. And that was crazy for me. Like, I really thought to myself, like, would I go to these unwrappings? Like, would you go to these unwrappings? Because I really had to think about that. Because can you imagine being in the audience watching a mummy being unwrapped and you actually paid to watch it? Like, would you pay?
Honestly, for me, it would depend on the king slash queen. If it was like big famous mummies like Tutankhamun or Cleopatra, honestly, I would pay a couple bucks to go see those mummies be unwrapped.
That's fair, but how much bucks? Like, what's the max bucks you're paying?
Max bucks, honestly, $80.
$80. Sorry, they had no tickets.
What?
$80.
Well,
It got to be more than
okay,
that. It got to be
okay,
more than that.
okay. I'll deal with you. So, if it was Tutankhamun, I would pay $150 because Tutankhamun was actually a big pharaoh in like the early
He meets King Tut.
King Tut, yeah,
Yeah.
and he was actually a pharaoh. And one fun fact I actually researched: Tutankhamun became king when he was around 10 years old.
Wow.
Around 10 years old. Imagine being king of like a whole country when you're only like 10 years old.
I did not know that, and I'm learning new facts every
I think it was
day.
10 or 9 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really long. That means you would be king right now.
Yeah.
And you would still only pay $150?
Well, if I was given the tickets, I would.
Okay, fair. Everything's better if it's free.
Yeah.
But for me, like he said, that was a crazy part of the book that I was absolutely sharp by. But that wasn't the only crazy part, guys. There is so many crazy part of this book. Like, one specific part was when they talked about how they believed in the pyramids having these mystic powers. So there was, let me actually read a little bit for you guys. So if you see me referencing, I'm trying to give you guys some tea. So there was this Frenchman named Antoine Bovis. He went to the pyramids and found this cat, supposedly, according to the book. So this is according to the book, guys. This is not some independent research I did. This is according to the book. Antoine Bovis, a Frenchman, went into the pyramids and saw a cat preserved, literally preserved. His body was intact. And he thought to himself, the pyramid must have special powers that is keeping these the body of this cat alive. So he not alive but intact. So he went back to France, did some experiments on model pyramid shapes and put food into it and found that the food actually kept preserved. So he did all these research, but he didn't really go any further. And it went further around 100 years later when this Czechoslovakian man, I'm looking for his name right now, Karol Durbel, this Czechoslovakian man, Karol Durbel, actually found the whole research thing of the Frenchman and decided to see if it worked with other materials such as metal. So he put blunt razor blades in these model pyramid shapes and found that they were actually sharpened. And for me, that was mind boggling because I don't know. Me personally, I don't really be thinking the pyramids have any powers, but what do you think?
Honestly, I don't think the pyramids have powers because because the pyramids were built with like big blocks. I think they like with each block they put in like really tight, and there would be like no like diseases or anything coming in. So I think it was just something to do with the pyramid. How would I say it? Like
So you saying it's science, not like
science.
mystic powers.
Yeah, science.
So you're saying it's something to do. So he's vouching for science. Me personally, I'm not vouching for anything because I'm just like it can't be the pyramids. Maybe it was that specific cat. Maybe his food had plenty of preservatives.
True. It may be like the type of thing you're putting in.
Maybe he forgot that the blades weren't that blunt to begin with, and he came back and was like, actually, they're kind of sharp. I don't know. I don't. I take it with a grain of salt. Me personally, I take all of that with a grain of salt. So I don't really know, but that crazy story didn't stop me from liking the book personally. Like I actually still liked it. Like would you recommend this book to anyone?
I would recommend it. I honestly would recommend this book to some people if they like really deep diving into history of other cultures. So yeah, I would recommend this book to some people.
Your friends?
Well, yeah, I have some friends that really like history and other cultures. So I even have a friend that's think of when she goes to college, she's gonna study culture and like all those history stuff. So
smart girl.
I think I would recommend this to some of my classmates and some.
But would you rate it?
I would rate it a 4.5 out of 10. I'll rate a 4.5. Out of 5.
I was just gonna say 4.5 out of 10. That means you don't like the book at all.
No, 4.5 out of 5. I forgot we did 5-star ratings
on the podcast.
Yeah.
So 4.5 out of 5. Why that specific number? Like why 4.5?
I honestly think why I rated a 4.5 because I think if they like dove a little bit deeper into the ancient Egyptian history, I think this would have been a 5-star book. But Zaya, what would you rate it?
Me, I would rate it with 4. I would rate it a little bit lower. I would go 4 out of 5 stars. Like first off, on recommending it, I would recommend it to people just because it was funny and it had like depictions with the cartoons and the jokes and stuff. It was funny. It tapped into the childlike nature, really let you learn history in an interesting way. But I wouldn't recommend it to everyone, which is why I come to my rating being 4 out of 5 stars, because I feel like if you don't really have the type of sense of humor that's in the book, you might take certain jokes that they make about history as facts, because sometimes they make jokes about history.
Yeah, they do.
And present it as facts. And if you are kind of gullible and don't recognize the jokes that they're making, that you might take it as facts, which is why I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Sometimes it's not really clear what's a joke and what's history. So that's the only reason I give it 4 out of 5. But if you can make that discernment, I would give it 5 out of 5. Sometimes a little gullible, guys. Sometimes,
I totally understand because like sometimes you want like the real, true facts, and you don't want to be serious about the facts.
But I love a little jokey joke here and there. I love a little jokey joke, so I liked it. But for me, I'm a little gullible. At first, I was like, huh? They was doing that for real, but I had to do my Googles to be like, oh, okay, they was just joking around. But it made me run to do my Googles a lot, and I was like, oh, that's just me being gullible. But if you're not gullible, then 5 out of 5. But for me, sometimes I was like, wow, this book is doing the most. But yeah, I've 5 out of 5 stars. But that's honestly all I have to say about this book today. It was pretty short, but impactful book, just like the episode. Like, you don't have to be reading it for long. It's a little bit over 100 pages, and I would say read it just for jokes and bants and just to get some fun facts. Like, but that's all I have to say. Do you have anything else to say to the audience about this book?
No, I think we discussed like the important facts about this book. So, yeah. Well, if you want to dive deeper, if you want to like check it out for yourself, make sure to check out Horrible Histories, Awesome Egyptians, and yeah, I think
I recommend that too. Check it out for yourself. But if you don't want to learn about the Egyptians for some reason, you can also go back and listen to KYRIE's other episode about the sharks. If you just love KYRIE so much, maybe put in the comments and be like, bring KYRIE back. And I'll bring him back if you guys love him. But if you don't for some reason, which is bad, because KYRIE's amazing, then you can just have a little bit more of me without KYRIE. you can have more of me without KYRIE in my other episodes. But I recommend watching KYRIE's episode because he's not pleased with that. So after this episode, go back and listen to the shark episode because you don't need more of me right now. You need more of me with KYRIE. But yeah, if you want to listen to other episodes on Tea Talks, wait 2 weeks and I will be back with another episode.
Don't forget she posts TikToks.
I do post TikToks
every single day. What times?
In the morning.
In the morning.
Yeah.
So make sure to tune in to those if you want to see more Zoyo.
Yes, if you want to see me on every platform, also head over to TikTok because I post every day, and Instagram if you want some other stuff too. But if you just want the podcast, meet me back here in 2 weeks for
KYRIE.
Not KYRIE, Z Talks. But yeah, bye guys.